Hello and welcome to the Chakra Diva Show. I am your host, Amber Poole, also known as the Chakra Diva. You can find me at thechakradiva.com. I am a crystal shaman as well as an ordained minister, a death doula, a psychic, a medium, and a teacher. So tonight I wanted to just have some fun and talk about the different dimensions that are here. And I want to get your opinion. So if you go to my Facebook page after the show and just post what you think and your comments, I want to hear from you. So I wanted to start off by talking about the 3D world, because we always talk about the dimensionals. And we go, I live in the 3D world, or I live in the 4D world. And sometimes we don't know what that is, or it's very confusing as to what that is. So I want to know, which dimension do you live in? So number one, 3D, the three-dimensional world. 3D is very logical. It's very physical. There's a lot of separation in between. So you may be considered old-fashioned or old school. We all know these people, right? They can't get out of their own box. And they're kind of like the people that play the same things over and over. Like, there can't be something new. There can't be something different. It's all one direction, and this is all we know, and that's how we go. They do not follow their intuition, right? Because they're very logical. And this programming and conditioning can be found in older generations, such as sometimes your grandparents have it, right? Being told what to do or how to act or how to be. And it creeps down the lineage. And then all of a sudden we have this awakening. And if you have an awakening, you're probably living in the 4D. Now, we bounce back and forth from 3 to 4 very quickly, unless you are going to sustain a 4-dimensional thinking or outlook. So 4D, I find a lot, or the majority of my clients that come to see me have this mind frame of the 4D. They know that there's something more than life, right? They keep receiving a ping from your soul, right? Your soul keeps asking, like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? There has to be something more than the 9-to-5 job. What brings me happiness? Have you had those questions come into your mind? Like, it can't be like this every day, right? You can't go into work 9 to 5 and then come home, do dishes and eat, go to bed, repeat. And we get this, I don't know, I keep calling it the ping. It's like when your soul goes, oh, there's something exciting. Maybe I want to travel, or maybe I want to quit my job and be a journalist, whatever your soul is calling you to do. But 4D asks you, what is my purpose, and lives with purpose. Then they might be at a place where they're also trying to understand themselves on a very deep level. Like, who am I? Where did I come from? Like, these really big questions. What makes me special? Or why do I get upset? Am I an empath, right? There's this deep thinking. They also have psychic or intuitive experiences. So it's not just the everyday anymore. Like, life all of a sudden is magical. I'm not talking about leprechauns coming out of trees, but there might be. But it becomes very, very magical again, especially when your intuition opens up, because then you go, oh, how come I've never used it before? What's going on here? How can I obtain it? What can I do with it? Okay. So that's the 4D. And they also try to heal themselves on different levels. Now, when I say that we go back from 3D to 4D, a lot of these topics, we are stuck in a 3D kind of frame because we've learned it for so many years, like structures of how things are supposed to work. It could be like hierarchy and then going down. And we don't have a 4D view, when being everybody brings something to the table. Everybody has a gift. Everybody can do something to support the community. That's more of a 4D. But we're starting to awaken to that. And when you're having conversations with people, you can kind of sit back and go, does this person live in a 4D world or maybe a 3D? So you go back and forth depending upon what you're trying to heal within yourself or what makes you kind of tick, right? Then you have the 5D. So 5D is this place of just pure oneness and unconditional love. And we haven't hit there yet. We haven't hit there as like a whole universe together, but I'm hoping that we will. But it's all connected. There is no separation within us. When I look at you, I'm looking at me, right? We're all together. We're all connected. There's really no good or no bad. The shaman that I work with, he says, Hucha is of service. Hucha is like negative energy. And so is Sami. So Sami is like this positive energy. He goes, they both bring service. And we have to sit down and think, well, how does Hucha or negativity actually help us or actually assist us? Because there is no good or bad. It's just this oneness. So that is like, for a lot of people, that's really far fetched to think that way. And like thinking in the 4D is the next step for them. So wherever you are comfortable at, just take a second and realize, hey, do I go back to the 3D on some things, or am I opening up to the 4D, opening up my intuition, trying to see new things? So here's what I started to think about, because I love to like think out of the box. It's just how I am. I started to sit down in a conversation with spirit. And we always say that there's people next to us. The deceased are next to us. They're in a different dimension, right? They're in a different dimension, but the veil is getting thin. Have you heard of that? The veil is getting thin. And that means that you can kind of like see through. Sometimes we see spirits. Sometimes, the deceased make themselves known in different ways. And that is a dimension. Now, let's get really fun. And I'm going to read you this. This is from medium.com. And this was printed out 2 years ago. But I really loved the way that it speaks. So listen, ready? Einstein's theory of general relativity has proved, and we have seen and conducted experiments that tell us that general relativity is true, that space and time are not two separate things, but rather related to each other. So any effect on one of these parameters will show a change in the other, and this is called the space-time continuum. Now, in simple terms, it means that time is also a parameter in the structure of the universe. So currently in our 3D world, they're saying that time is a parameter with everything we do. But when we go to fourth dimension, we will never have distinctive past, present, or future, right? Because that's time. We always think of time as what's in the past or what's in the future, right? This is because time is physical quantity in the world. So if you move forward by 5 years in the dimension of time, and again backwards by 5 years, you have seen the future and still be in the present. Now, you may think, well, I can have memories and I can go back into the past, but a lot of people haven't seen the future, right? And that's because we haven't played it out, but you can meet your future self. So when you're going to live in this 4D world, there is no time. So you can be together through the past and the future all at the same time. I'm going to take it up a step. Okay, fourth dimension. We go in, or you can go in for past life regression, right? You can go in to see your past lives. Now, the shaman that I work with does not believe in past lives because there is no time. We are playing all dimensions at the same time. Think about this. So you can activate a part of you from the past that is in the now, in the present. So if you've ever done like past regression, you will notice that you will have certain criteria or certain things that you do in this lifetime that you actually picked up from a previous lifetime. And I know this very, very well. So I love going and doing past life work. I love to see who I was in different lifetimes. And what happens is all of our stuff is not resolved in one lifetime. You cannot accomplish everything that you want to accomplish or everything that your soul has set out to do in a certain amount of time because you don't know when your time is up. There's that time dimension in 3D. So what happens is we want to play out who we were back then into the now. So when I was in Colorado, this is my example, I was having a seizure and I was in a hotel on the floor. And as I was having the seizure, all of a sudden these words came to me, and I was calling in my energy from the east, from the south, from the west, and the north. And I was kind of commanding all my energy to come back to me. And I thought, how did I know to do that? Because it helped me out tremendously, like completely all new girl. Like I was having a seizure 1 second and I stopped and I could breathe again and I felt whole again. And I thought, where did I learn that from? And I did a past life regression to realize that I was a pretty magical human being at one point, which carries over to this moment that you have here of what you're playing out to do. So sometimes people sign up for jobs, right, that they don't feel called to anymore. Like I wanted to go into law and I actually applied to, well, let me work this out. I was thinking I was going to be an attorney, but when I got into learning about law, it did not resonate, right? It wasn't something that I want to do. Or I wanted to help out in the police work, but I couldn't figure out how I wanted to do it. So my previous past life of working in that field was acting out in this life. And I end up working on missing cases for people in order to help assist them and work with the police in that way so that I can move forward in this life. So you may think that I don't know who you are, that what do I bring here? And you bring all of these lifetimes together into the now. If you're watching the show, you're one of those people that are stepping into the 4D and you're curious about yourself and you're curious about all the things that you've done. And know that you are completely smart about who you are because you've lived all of these lives before and it's just playing out in this present moment. So that's in the 4D. Like you are completely in charge. You've been there. So you need to own it. When I'm thinking about the 4D, I'm thinking about how wonderful everybody is, where they have gone, where they're going, and what kind of world they want to create for when we step into the 5D. So when you think about all of these 3, 4, 5 dimensions, I want you to think about how amazing you are for all of the past lives that you have gone through and the many more continuous lives that we will go to until we can heal together and become one. Is that not mind-blowing? Like I did that in 14 minutes, right? But these are huge concepts that it just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience to really get a hold of or understand it. So if you are curious about your past lives, highly recommend a past life reading so that you can see how it's affecting you in this moment. So Chief is one of my Native Americans that I have worked with. He's in Lakota tribe. And he says that when you go into the future, it's protected. It is protected because it's not yet defined yet. And he says that there are big protectors that stand in front of the future. He says the future has scared me. The past does not because we don't know where we're going. But if you become conscious of where you're going, of who you were, then you can create a better pathway for your future. And you can say, you know what? I know how to call in my energy because I'm magical. And because I'm magical, I'm going to use this life in a different way. So how would you be of service, right? So take all of your interests, take all the things that you love, and I'm sure you've already done them before in a previous life, and call on the knowledge and the wisdom from those lives to help you out in this life. And it's kind of putting all of the dimensions together into this one. You have to become conscious of it first, right? We're not conscious of it unless somebody tells you it, unless you experience it in some way. But after you do, then you'll be able to say, aha, I've been here before. I'm going to grab that wisdom, that knowledge, and bring it back to me into this life so that I can move forward with it. So that is a really big thing to do. I hope that you have fun with it this week. Look at, go to the Chakra Diva page on Facebook and let me know. You know what? If you're in 3D, talk to me about it. Tell me about your 3D experiences. If you're in 4D, what are you doing to open up your intuition? What are you doing to step in consciously to who you are a little bit more, a little bit better? So that's what I have for you this week. I cannot wait for you to just dive into the different levels that you are on. Okay? Wonderful. So Candace from Virginia. Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm okay.
Wonderful. I love just chit chatting and it just raises my vibration. What can I do for you today?
Well, my thing is, my fiance is, I don't know if you might not be able to answer me on this part, but she's incarcerated. She's been there for 7 months. We're trying to, I just want to know when we'll be back together, when she'll be home. And we just can't get her here.
Hmm. Okay. So what's your question?
When do you see her coming home?
When do I see her coming home? Down a
Yeah.
timeline for you. It's funny that we're talking about time when there is no time. Let's say all of that. All right. Yes. The challenge. And I'm pulling out. Oh, I love it. I'm pulling out cards here to see what's going on. So actually, I keep getting. Let me go into her a little bit deeper. I keep getting the challenge that I see is with balance, and I'm not sure what the balance is coming into. I see the number 7 around 7, 7, 7, 7 weeks. No, looks like a little bit more time. Looks further out to me when I'm looking into like the year timeline. She feels restless to me. How's she doing?
She's not doing too good. Her emotions are everywhere. And she's ready to come home. She's an emotional wreck.
Yeah, I feel when I was in her energy, just not uplifted, not vibrating higher than where I want her to be at, would love her to be at. But I keep finding balance with this. Like there's something within the balance that is not happening.
Like,
Let me have
what
more.
exactly does that mean?
I'm going to
She's
pull out another card.
I put her on hold.
Oh, oh.
It should be okay.
All right. So can I have the advice for that? I just pulled out the broken heart card for the challenge.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. So again, in my card, I just pulled out the storm warning card, which means that there's going to be delays, which is what I was seeing. It looks further out. It doesn't look like it's I keep hearing promises. Promises are coming in and they're not followed through. Like the work is not being followed through. But my card just came out was a storm warning, which means that there's going to be delays. And they also said, like, keep my other card that came out was called the happy family, which is really beautiful, right? So that's the advice. So keep sitting in that power of connecting, communicating, uplifting the best way that you know how to do. Because when I'm in her energy, I just hear home, 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 home all around her.
Yes, that's all I hear is home. Like I'm home, like I'm home.
Home, home, home.
I mean,
Yes.
she got a bond, but now she has a detainer, and like they can't. It's like crazy.
Well, I wish I had really great news for you, but I see delays in coming through. So the best thing that you can do is just continue to support her and try to like lift up her vibration the best that you can do um, to to bring home support.
All right.
Okay,
No,
I'm
thank
sorry.
you.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. So with the rest of our time together, I would love to just pull out the cards for you guys because not everybody can call in and get a reading, right? So I want to pull out which cards are going to be for your fall equinox. I'm teaching the shamanic energy healing program, which happens to do around the fall and letting go and releasing and bringing in new beginnings. And it's kind of funny because this is about a time of ending and rebirth. And next month, I am giving I'm a speaker for people who have lost loved ones. And it's called Courage to Hope. And I'm going to talk about what it's like to sit with people who are transitioning. And that's what I've done many a times. I sit with people who are transitioning. We call them death doulas. So death doula is a person who helps transition them, but I don't do that. I do more of the psychic work, and I communicate with the people who are around them in spirit. And I communicate with their loved ones and with the person who are dying, because a lot of times you're unable to speak, and bring in assurance. So whatever they need, if they have their fears are all over the place, then I come in and I can hear them telepathically. So I sit with them and let them know. If it's about their loved ones, then I communicate any messages in between. So I'm going to give a speech on that. And then I'm also going to be marrying a beautiful couple that I've met 4 years ago. So it's kind of like, here's the death and here's the rebirth. And for the month of October. And that's where it is all across the line. So if you feel like there's a part of you somewhere that is kind of like dying off and then coming back in, or rebirthing yourself, you are exactly where you need to be. So let's pull out some cards, just 3 cards today. I want you to sit in your power and think 1, 2, or 3. And what is the message for you for the upcoming fall equinox? Some people are going through a really challenging time. And it's because the challenges will bring forth lessons that you need to learn, or things that you are, my cards always fly out and hit me in my face, moving into. So on the other hand of things, you might be ready to just dive deep into your next project. So where are you at? All right. So number 1, number 2, or number 3? Ooh, good. Did you pick number 1? Did you pick number 1? This is what it looks like for those who can watch me. This is number 1. Do you connect in with number 1? Here is number 2. If you connect in with number 2. And here is number 3. So what does your gut tell you? Right? What does your mind tell you? Which number to pick with? That's part of your intuition. That's part of your intuition, and stepping into that. All right. Number 1. If you chose number 1, it's all about the action. The action. And I'm actually going to read this to you, because sometimes there might be something in here that you go, aha, that resonates with me. And that's really what we're looking for. So this card tells you that now is the time for more aggressive forward movement. The galloping horses represent intentional action directed to your goals. This card upright indicates that you are right on track, but your determined efforts must increase. The white horse is inner spirit and thought. The black horse is outer work that still needs to be done. So continue taking action and trust your intuition. In time, you'll break through and see the results you've been working so hard to create. As I sit here, I know I have a client out there that is connecting with me, and I just felt him. So Charles, I want you to give me a ring. Number 2, did you pick number 2? If you did, this is the thinking woman. The thinking woman. So let me go. That's so funny. I'm very telepathic. That's how my work runs. So this card shows a woman holding a book, standing before a staircase, ready to lead you to higher understanding. Whoop, whoop, 4th dimension. This woman could be a friend who helps you express and understand your feelings, or she could be a teacher brought to you at life at this time and take you in a new direction, not mentioning any names. This could also be a new love interest with a woman who is thoughtful, conscious, and aware. Or, like the thinking man, the card could represent a side of you that's ready to blossom and bring clarity and assistance to the world. If so, find your voice and let your wisdom shine. Step into your power. Be yourself. And card number 3, I have no idea what this says. Rest and rejuvenation. Sorry, I had to turn it around. Rest and rejuvenation. I know what that means. Do you know what that means? That means go grab a pillow. All right. So This card shows a man in a meditative and tranquil state. The message here is that it's time to relax. You may have been busy lately. Blah, blah. Let's try again. You may have been busy lately, but you should soon be finding more time to just let go. When you do, allow yourself to go within and open up to the peace and wisdom that are vibrating there. This card upright indicates that there should be more leisure time for you now and more of an opportunity to engage in peaceful thinking. So make it a priority. So many times we don't do a priority. We just wait on that. 15 minutes in the morning, meditate. Center, ground, meditate. 15 minutes at night, center, ground, meditate. Your connection to spirit brings great assistance, but it can only be achieved through regular relaxation and meditation. Now is a great time to make sure you insert this gentle activity into your daily life. In many ways, this is far more productive than increasing action. So obviously the people in number 3 didn't pick number 1 because they're in the opposite spectrum. If you are finding yourself overwhelmed and there's just too much going on, just take a moment and pause and think about how awesome and wonderful and all of the accomplishments that you have done this week. Even today, it doesn't have to be in the week, right? Every one of us brings something special to the table. So I hope that you always remember that and know that your light is shining bright and make it shine even brighter. You got to squish it up with crystals in order to be of service, right? That's what we're all doing, is being of service to the world. So thank you so much for joining me today. And my name is Amber Poole, and that's the Chakra Diva Show. Thank you.